So I'm 18 years old and I've owned 8 different cars in the 2 years that I had my license. I'm actually left with this Mini Cooper because I sold all of my cars. And here's my story. So let's get into it. It still reminds me of my BMW. That was an insured accident of another driver. This vehicle isn't actually mine, so it's not my fault. Whoa, is that for sale? A little Fiat. Maybe I should buy that too. Anyways, so my first car was a 2003 Mazda Miata, and I was 15. No, I was 16. I just turned 16 at the time, and I actually had my permit. I bought this car for $6,500, and I sold it for $7,000 2 weeks later. So my first mistake was never buy a car without an inspection on it, because then you risk not knowing anything about the suspension or the engine, anything about the car. So my recommendation, always get an inspection when you buy a car if you're very unsure of its condition. So I didn't know anything about cars when I bought this, actually. I didn't even like Miatas, but then this one just looked really good for some reason. So after I got the inspection, I learned that the rear suspension was shot, and so it was basically undrivable, I believe. And then whenever you would turn, it would make like these cracking and pops. It was super bad. And it also had a welded diff. I didn't even know what that meant until I drove it around. It's a welded diff is not good for dealing, so I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. I would rate this car personally for myself like a 3 out of 10. Or my second car was a 2020 Civic hatchback, and I basically got it because I had no choice. My parents bought it for me. We bought it for $15,000 and then sold it for $17,700. This car, honestly, it was perfect. It was super clean, super nice. I got brand new tires on it. The only con that I really had with it is it had a little bit high mileage, if you consider on the Civic. It was 78,000 miles. I only put less than 1,000 miles on that car, I believe. I wanted something manual and more engaging at the time. I would rate it 6 out of 10. It was a solid car. So my third car was a 2006 Mazda Miata. This was actually a really good deal, in my opinion. I got it for $5,000. It had a 6-speed manual. The top had no leaks, no mechanical problems. It was really good. And for the condition that I got it in, there was no paint fade at all. The only cons that were there was the AC compressor didn't work, and the passenger floor carpet was not there, but the driver's side was. So I don't know what that situation was about, but I fixed both of those things and then some other cosmetic issues. Nonetheless, it was still a very good car. I learned manual in that car. I've made some friends in that car. The Miata community is huge. I mean, it's probably one of the most positive communities you could possibly find. And that of being that it's so large, there's obviously like different genres of it, like lowered static cars and track build, to each their own. I mean, it's a big platform, so you can't go wrong with a Miata. They're very good cars and they're very affordable. I bought this $5,000. I sold it for $7,700. I only put 1,000 miles on this car too in 4 months. So I got tired of it because, well, dealing a manual after the gym, if you guys go to the gym and hit legs, it had a light flywheel, I had a light clutch, but still, I guess I wasn't just a seasoned manual driver yet, so I just sold it immediately. And also the top, it had no leaks, but it was just so loud in there in the cabin. It was insane. It made me like kind of go crazy on the highway, and even on regular roads too. It wasn't that good. So I'd rate it a 7 out of 10. It was a very fun car, but it was not a good daily. My fourth car was a 2018 Tesla Model 3. And hear me out. I know the car community hates Teslas because, oh, they're electric, they have no soul. But they're really good dailies. I mean, if you ever driven one and like had two cars, as in Tesla and then engaging car, I would be perfectly fine with that. I bought this car for $18,700. Pretty weird price to land on, but I was negotiating. And I got it for so cheap because I wasn't told that I had an accident. And when I checked the Carfax, it had an accident, but I just didn't care enough because it was such a cheap price that I could resell it. And it didn't like bother me that much because it was still drivable. So it did have some visual front end damage that I guess I didn't care about, to be honest. After all the Miata craziness daily, getting into this Tesla was probably like one of the best things that ever happened to me. It was such a smooth, like, and quiet ride. And I also got a free Tesla charging card from a person very close to me. So everywhere I charge and with my Tesla, it was free, which is really nice. And so I had that for, I believe, 2 months. Sold it for $22,700. So pretty good profit on that car. I'd rate it. I'll give it a 7 as well. So my fifth vehicle after the Tesla, lo and behold, I bought another Tesla. It was a 2020 Tesla Model 3 Performance. This spec was honestly the best. It was all blacked out Tesla Model 3 Performance with white interior. It just looked so good, and it had full self-driving. I forgot what the other specs were, but it was just an insane spec for the price. I got it at $24,000. This is the car I actually had the longest for. I think I had it for 5 or 6 months until I sold it. I had no issues with the car. I took it out to places pretty far away, racked up 5,000 miles on the car, which sounds very little, but for me that's kind of a lot. I barely drive much. So, I mean, far away from me is like 2 hours, like an hour away. Or no, I bought it at 24,000. I sold it for 25,000. You would think that's profit, but I actually lost money in that car because when I got to the DMV, I paid the fees. It was like $2,000, so I lost $1,000 in that car. But it was a great car. So worth it for me. I would rate that Tesla an 8 out of 10. It had some good memories in that thing. Look at my old school. I just graduated high school. I would get pulled out of class just so I could sell cars. Good old days. Well, who has my spot now? Let's see. Not a Beamer. Okay. My sixth car. 2020 Lexus RX 450 HL. That is a very long name. I think Lexus should change the names of their vehicles because that is very bad. This car, I got it from my aunts for $30,000. It's actually a really good price if you know the market of Lexuses and their SUVs. They are a lot of money. They're worth a lot of money for what they are, in my opinion. Yeah, it's a hybrid. It's considered a luxury brand. They're pretty luxurious for a Japanese car, don't get me wrong, but they're not really that good compared to Mercedes or BMW. I mean, the interiors are lacking in Lexus a lot. I mean, maybe this is just the 2020 and they're older, but I think they're quite overrated. And this is the RX. Most people have the 350. I had the 450 hybrid L. I don't know what that meant. Just the highest trim, basically. And I mean, it was a great, comfortable car. It had Apple CarPlay, good AC, good speakers. And I got it for a really good deal because she needed to sell her car. I bought it. She gave me a good deal. I had this car for a month, so I bought it at $30,000, and I sold it at $40,700. Pretty good profit in this car as well. I'd rate the Lexus an 8. It was good, but I didn't drive it much. Oh boy, talking about the 7th car. This is my beloved BMW. I had a BMW 540i, fully specced out, fully loaded, and I bought this 2 weeks into owning the Lexus, but I was like, this deal is too good. There's a cop and I have a camera on my head. Hopefully he doesn't pull me over because he thinks I'm doing something crazy. And let me go over the spec. So it had power closing doors. It had the gesture control for the stereo. It had M550 wheels that the previous owner installed. It had 360 camera, like driver assistance package. It had rear screens in the back, rear entertainment. I can't even fit all this in one hand. It was insane. It had the full like comfort Napa interior. It was such a good spec. BMWs really know how to like do their specs really well. And I think finding a fully loaded BMW is probably one of the coolest feelings that you could probably have. Or fully loaded anything, in my opinion. I think a base spec, I just could never go back to a base spec. I would need to at least have something fully loaded or fully optioned out. The 540 is probably one of the most underrated in their class. I think 340s and the 440s get too much hype, to be honest. The 540 is super underrated. People call it a boat. I don't believe so. It's heavy, don't get me wrong, it has a long wheelbase. But dude, it still has the B58. This car had luxury, it was comfortable, it was reliable, and you could push crazy power out of them. If you can push any crazy power out of a car that can do all of those things, I would consider it probably the perfect car. You can race someone, gap the shit out of him, and then go take your girl out on a nice night out for some dinner. And it looks really nice because you got interior lighting and you're the boss, you're the man, you know what I mean? I would rate that car a good 9 out of 10. My 8th car was a 2007 NC Miata. I would dream about the 2006 Miata so much. Like, I would miss it like every day probably. So I bought another one, and I bought another NC. I thought it was a good deal. It really wasn't. I bought it for $6,000. It had less miles. It was repainted in some blue color that wasn't really done well. And it had some problems. And it had lifter tick. If you know what lifter tick is, it's basically a ticking sound that happens in most NAs and NBs. But I never thought it would happen in an NC, but it did when I do a cold start on it. So I changed the oil. The oil, it sprayed out the engine. And when I came back home, it was literally smoking out of the engine bay. So I'm like, holy shit, what just happened? My valve cover gasket wasn't that good, so I had to replace that too. Replaced the valve cover gasket, got an oil change, washed up the car. Then it was really good. The car handled really well. 6-speed manual. Not much about this car. I only had it for a month. But I did do I'm not really mechanically experienced with cars. This car gave me the biggest headache. I bought it at $6,000. I sold it for $7,500. And so, not bad, but also not the best for the time that I spent on that car. I'd rate it like a 4 out of 10. And you would think that I would learn from all the other cars that I've bought, but I didn't. This is my 8th car. It's sold now, but it's just funny that I don't know, I made a mistake when I bought it, and I think people make mistakes, so it's all good. Honestly, all the cars that I've bought have been pretty good to me compared to, let's say, someone having rod knock. Thankfully, I haven't had that, knock on wood. But I did learn some lessons throughout the way. I'm very glad I learned those lessons. One lesson I learned is that don't buy out of emotion. A lot of people buy out of emotion because their dream car is right in front of them and they have the cash in hand, and they just ignore all the red flags that could be wrong with the vehicle, such as paperwork issues, mechanical issues. I mean, it can go on and on with vehicles, but there's a lot of issues that can go wrong. And just because that your dream car is sitting right in front of you doesn't mean that you need to buy it at that moment. Like, if it's not the right vehicle for you, and you'll have that feeling in your stomach, but you just want to ditch out the money, you'll only be spending your hard-earned dollars on a flawed dream. The second thing I learned is please be patient when buying a vehicle. You don't need to rush into the whole process. Please do your due diligence in research. Look at all the recalls and what happened to your vehicle that year. Buy the Carfax. Get an inspection. And bug the previous owner about questions, because they know everything about the vehicle, and if they have maintenance paperwork too, that's even better. Having patience does really go a long way, and patience can save you thousands of dollars in the process. And the third thing is how buying and selling cars has taught me values like, yet again, patience and research, negotiation, and social skills to make you a better person for your buyers and sellers. And the extra money that rolls in isn't really a bad thing either. I mean, I do it as a hobby, just to try out different cars. But this can really be a side hustle, a business. People can make really good money off of this if you really move cars quickly. If you made it this far into the video, I would like to thank you for not having a fried TikTok brain. Let me know down in the comments if you ever had a car flip, bought the wrong car, regretted a modification. I want to hear you guys' stories. I'd love to hear those.